Healing Light takes you on a journey where you'll explore the nuances of energy. You'll visit the angelic realms and study the ancient wisdom and teachings of spirituality. We want you to reach within and discover the magnificent being that you came here to be. We help shine God's divine healing light by bringing love, light, and blessings into your world. And now, here is the host of Healing Light, Terry Van Horn.
Hi there, and welcome to Healing Light. This is Terry Van Horn, and I want to just say a big thank you for everyone who is here today. And, a big thanks for those who listen to the archives as well, because, we can't always make these times. And, I'm really glad that we do have the archives on OMTimes Radio so that you can go back and listen whenever you do have time. This week, oh my God, this week has been a week of revelations. It's only July the 6th, and it seems like the entire world has just been embroiled in a tremendous amount of chaos. I talked, at the end of last year, the beginning of this year, about this being a time of disclosure, and it really has been. And it's been painful. That has not been a fun time so far. And we are all having to deal with this, myself included. Disclosure is not only about the UFO thing, like everybody, uses it in that context, but it's disclosure about all sorts of things that have been hidden from sight. And that includes, obviously, a lot of political stuff going on all over the world. And, and even local stuff and personal stuff as well. Right now, I feel that, we're having lights being, just blaring and blasting in areas that we really do need to look at. And let me tell you, there have been floodlights on over here with me for the last several days. And it hasn't been all fun. But, learning and growing and expanding isn't always an easy, fun process. And so, before we get into talking about the angels, I wanted to share a little bit of it with you, just because I think that it's helpful to share these experiences with other people. See, sometimes we get caught up in the whole spirituality thing. And we have people that talk to us, and it's like, oh man, you've been such a great teacher for me, or you've been inspiration, or you've done this, or you've done that. And, sometimes we actually start believing our own press. But when it gets down to it, we're all just regular people. We're working to try to get by, to move forward, to expand, and to grow. Some of us have gifts in one area, some have them in another area. Doesn't make anybody any better, any more fabulous, or any more powerful than anyone else. And that goes very much for me. I have gifts in some areas, and then I have complete and utter total blindness in others. And for me, that blindness is in the personal life. Sometimes, I just don't get these messages that are meant for me. And I know a lot of people who are intuitive who have the same struggles and challenges. We can't always get our own personal messages sometimes. We're busy picking them up from everybody else. And we can get those messages for other people because it's so much easier for us. It's easier for me to do that for someone and to receive messages that I don't have an emotional attachment to. I have nothing invested in the messages that I share with other people. But when it's time for me to do messages about my own life or what's going on in my world, well, I already have assumptions. I have emotional attachments. I've got all sorts of stuff. that goes along with it. And that blinds me to the truth sometimes. And it blinds me to what is actually going on. So it's amazing how a lot of times, whenever you start really finding out about people who are highly spiritual, highly intuitive, you may be very surprised to discover that we have some challenges and issues in our personal lives. Doesn't mean that we're complete wackos and impossible to live with. It means that we're over here sometimes kind of floating around in another dimension, and we don't always see what's going on right here in the three-dimensional world. And so we really need to work on that as well. We need to work on being grounded and centered and focused so that we can function properly and, take care of everything in this world. And then so that we can connect with the higher dimensions and do that work as well. It is a challenge. And sometimes we get knocked down a few rungs because of it. And, that's a learning experience. It hurts. It's awful. But it's part of the growing and the expansion that we all need to do. So you see, it doesn't matter how many certifications, accreditations you have, how many hours you do this kind of stuff, how many years you've done it, who you channel with or for. None of that really matters. If you're not grounded and centered and focused in your own life, then it will cause you challenges and difficulties in reaching the other areas. I've been going through all of that for a while, but it's really been bringing it home this last week. So I'm asking for healing and prayers to be sent to help me as I work through all of this, sort it out and learn the lessons. And also so that I can help others who are going through the same type of thing. Because I know that I am not the only one who is dealing with these situations. So we have so many different healers and so many different teachers all over the world. It's kind of like we didn't ask for it, but we all sort of have our own specialty. And we draw people to us who have the same wounds and the same challenges that we have had. Because we can better help them because we really have gone through that experience and we know how that experience feels. So think about that. As you're going through these experiences and these challenges, don't worry about the why me question. Because the why me question is, the answer is because you need to learn and grow and expand. And you need the experience to help others. So why me? Don't even need to bother with that anymore. Those are your answers. So what you need to do is just ask yourself, how can I make this work? And how can I move this forward? That will be the big difference in what's going on and how you come out on the other side. Now, if you want to find out more about me, my services, everything else that I have going on, you can do that on my website. It's healinglightonline.com. Or you can find me on Facebook with the keywords Healing Light Online. And right now on the Facebook page, there is a huge, massive conversation about dealing with narcissists. And, there's a lot of them around right now, and we do need to work with them in the most loving and productive way possible so that it doesn't harm ourselves. Now, also, I do work with a group of beings called the Fifth Element, and they have been guiding me to create a special group of people, and I'm calling them Light Angels. And we are going to work together to get past this human experience and to deal with it, to work with our angels and to move forward. Now, as we move forward, we're going to work to help healing the planet. So this first part that we're doing, it is a subscription service. It's a token amount just because I want people who are dedicated to this. So the price of it is very simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. $12.34. The next number is a 5, which is the fifth element, which is you and unconditional love. That's what it's going to take to put it all together. So you can find out about this. I just kicked it off on Monday with the full moon or the new moon. And we're going to do channelings, and I will have information for people weekly about how we can expand and grow. Now, before we take our break and get into our actual discussion about working with our angels, I have been pestered to quote this prayer. And this is the one of St. Francis. And I think it's really a good one for right now. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. And where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. It is in dying that we are born again to eternal life. That was from St. Francis of Assisi. And we'll be back in just a couple minutes and talk about working with the angels.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Every Tuesday on Living with Moxie, join Shefali Burns and Donna Martouge in conversations designed to take you to the next level, where we highlight ideas, resources, and strategies that provide you with the leverage you require to meet and exceed your business and personal goals. Each week on Living with Moxie, we will lead conversations related to success, achievement, fulfillment, and extraordinary, vibrant living. Are you ready to live with Moxie? Join us.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Welcome back to Healing Light. This is Terry Van Horn. Today we're going to talk about working with the angels and primarily the archangels. But we need to really understand who and what we're talking about, because one thing that I have learned is that everybody has an opinion about the angels and who they are and what they are. what they can do, and everything else. So I thought, the first thing we're going to do is talk about, who or what are the angels? Okay? Angels are pure divine energy. Okay? They have always lived in the heavenly realms. Angels have not been here. Okay? They are always and have always been spirit. They are pure love, which again explains why they haven't been here. Okay? Because being in the heavenly realms, that is their experience, is pure unconditional love. Angels in the Bible and other books, have said that the angels are God's messengers. What they are is they're kind of like a conduit so that we can receive messages from the divine without having go directly to God. Now, that doesn't mean that, we can't connect with God or pray to him or anything like that, because we can and we do. But he usually sends his answers through the angels. Now, that can also help us so that angels are like our own personal assistants. Okay? That's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be here to help us with every aspect of our lives and everything that we need. So, if you need assistance with a relationship or job or, finances or anything, health, healing, whatever, ask them for assistance. They're here. They're standing right here waiting on you to say something. And that is their job, is to be here and to help us in every way. But, we get so tangled up in stuff that we don't ask them for help. And then we start wandering around like we're in the dark with blinders on, slogging through mud. And our angels are over there wringing their hands, saying, oh my God, if you would just ask me, I could pick you up and we could fly through this and we could just get on to heavenly bliss. So they are our personal assistants and we need to use them in that way. They are a resource for us, to put it in a, semi-business sense. Angels are a resource. They are here for us. Now, angels are cool. Some are really big. Like ginormous. And some are really small. They're like fairies. Fairies are, angels that are connected to the elements in the earth. Fairies are real. Okay? We have angels that are animals. Who can heal you more most of the time? It's an animal or a child. They do that. That's part of their mission and part of the things that they've come here to do. Now we have earth angels, who are people who have come down, who have been angels, and they come down here to try to help others. And so that's really a wonderful, beautiful blessing. And then we have some that are considered to be like spirit angels, that have been on the other side, and they are on the other side, but yet they're more like spirit animals and guides. The essence of the horse or the wolf or the cheetah or the hawk or the eagle. They're the essence of that. But remember that angels are the ones who have always lived in the heavenly realms. That means, contrary to many people's opinions, angels are not your grandmother or your friend or your aunt or anybody like that. They are not somebody who has crossed over. Okay? Now, these relatives or these friends, these people that you are so close to that are on the other side, they can help you. And they will be here to help you and to guide you in many different ways. But they are not your angel. And I hate to disappoint people about that because, some are just so convinced that grandma is their angel But it's really not that. Now, you can connect with Grandma and you can talk to her and she can help facilitate your connection with the angels. But she's really not your angel because she's been here on earth. She's done those incarnations here. See, our angels have been with us since before birth, during multiple incarnations. We kind of like sit down with them and we come up with our own little personal business plan before we come here on this planet. And they help us map out what it is that we want to learn, the things that we want to do and accomplish. And then they help us come up with a way to do that. And then we go through the whole birth process, come here with major amnesia, while our angel sits on the sidelines saying, okay, you can do this, you can do this. Come on, just remember one thing, you can do this. And they want to help you so bad. And they can. But they also have to acknowledge that we have free will. So they can't just jump in and do stuff for us. We do have to ask. God sent us here with a plan, with that plan that we talked about. But even God says we have free will, and He honors that. So our angels have to do that too. Now, angels, as I said, are beings that are entirely spiritual. Okay? It's kind of like that spark of God that's within you, your soul. That's what angels are. They very, very rarely go from angelic form to human form. Now, sometimes they will pop in when it's absolutely necessary, but that really is popping in and popping out. Okay? They're not here to have a whole lifetime and to go through some big ordeal with you. They may come in and just save you at a critical moment, and then they're gone again. So they do pop in and out occasionally, but it's just not one of those things where they are here forever, and then they cross over and then they're your angel later on. So there is a difference. Now, one of the big things that I get from people is you shouldn't be praying to your angels, you should be praying to God. You're right. Except that God and the angels are both universal divine spiritual beings. They are made up of love and light. Yes, God is much higher elevated. But as we've said before, the angels are His messengers. While He can hear every single thing that you are asking for or saying or doing, you can't always connect with Him. I always say that, it's kind of like, we'll just say, just for numbers' sake, God is on a frequency of 10,000. Humans are on probably a negative 5,000. Okay? We got a long ways to go before we could ever possibly connect with Him. But what happens is, as we grow and expand, we move up. Our angels are in between us and God on a frequency vibrational level. So it's easier for us to connect with them and hear the messages from the angels. Sometimes, even when Michael comes in and I work with him, which I do a lot, but even sometimes he surprises me. It's like having a 747 land in your living room. So if Michael comes in with that much force, where, by the way, I have been in situations where he has physically moved furniture and other people have seen it. Okay? If Michael comes in with that kind of force, because he's not subtle, he's a warrior, what do you think it would be like if God swooped into your living room? I'm thinking you would be approaching the light at about that point because you would be having a heart attack. We, mere little puny humans, aren't quite ready for God's energy to be landing in right next to us. That's one of the reasons why we have the angels. So if you're saying a prayer, I always pray to God, and then I ask for assistance from my angels and ascended masters. Now, there's also a difference that I really do want to stress before we go into our break again. Your angels are your best friends. They're your buddies. They're the ones who are there for you night and day, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Now, think about it this way. You say your prayers to God. Great. As we should. But let's say you need to move your refrigerator. You're getting a new one. You need to get rid and get the old refrigerator out of the way so that you can get the new one replaced, okay? You pick up the phone and you call one of your buddies and say, hey, can you come over and help me move this refrigerator? Because the new one's going to be delivered in the morning. And your friend says, sure. And then they come over and you guys move the refrigerator. Were you praying to your friend, or did you make a phone call and ask them to help you out? To me, in my world, there's a huge difference between asking someone for their help and praying. I pray to God. My angels are my friends, and I ask them for assistance sometimes. It's not the same thing, and that's one thing that we do need to really understand, that it's a big difference. We're going to take another break, and when we get back, we're going to talk more about our angels.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Join me, Maggie Chula, on Mondays at noon Eastern for Mastermind with Maggie. Let's work together in a mastermind. We can resolve life's problems and create goals for the future. Build action steps empowering you to create your life in partnership with your divine source of light, your soul. Manifesting your goals can be simple and easy, so come with your problems and leave with a plan. The Akashic Master Teachers and I are waiting to help you.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, intuitive life coach and energy healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OMTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Hi, this is Terry Van Horn with Healing Light, and we're talking about angels. Now, we talked about what angels are and aren't, and we talked about the difference between praying to God and asking your angels for assistance. And I really do think that once you look at this, from a different perspective, then you'll see that your angels are really here for you. And they are here to help you to grow and to expand and to make your life much easier. So asking them for their assistance is not the same thing as going to God in prayer. Because going to God in prayer is more like a worship prayer and connecting with Him. And it really shouldn't necessarily be a complete laundry list of everything that you want. Okay? But, that's kind of where we are now. So let's talk about the orders of angels. Because just like everything else in the universe, we have to have different categories. And, everybody's got their different jobs. So let's talk about that. Let's start at the top with seraphim. Now, seraphim are the highest frequency of angels, and they are the essence of pure, unconditional love. Now, their job, pretty cool. They sing the praises of God, and they add energy to really important projects for humanity. Okay, so they're the highest frequency. They're the ones out there just doing all these beautiful little, singing and everything, and helping to raise the frequency, because singing and music raises our frequency. Now, below them, we have the cherubim. And, cherubim, they're the ones that, they're the angels of wisdom. And they're the guardians of the stars and the celestial heavens. Now, a really cool thing about the cherubim is that they are going to help you connect to your planet of origin and give you a sense of peace. Now, the planet of origin, we can totally go off into that, and we will at a later date and time, okay? I promise. But our planet of origin is basically all of the souls came from different planets and different dimensions to inhabit Earth. And so sometimes we don't feel like we belong here, and that's because we feel more of a connection with the planet of origin or the other dimensions that we were from. We'll talk about that at another time in another program and get much more into it. Now, below them are the cherubs. Those cute little chubby angels that look like little babies. Okay, their job is to help with the stars and to work with the humans that are angel ambassadors. Now, angel ambassadors, I can think of some pretty quickly. Diana Cooper, big one. Doreen Virtue, huge angel ambassador. Kyle Gray, Bradley Valentine. These people are really working with the angels, constantly. And because of the way that they are. They're almost angelic in many different ways. See, cherubs help bring about joy and a childlike innocence to life. And it's interesting because the people who are angel ambassadors are very much like that. They're so much like that in, their own personal life. So they really have a very close connection with the cherubs. Now we have the thrones. Now, these are kind of powerful guys, and their job is to look after and to guard the planets in the universe. There are a lot of planets, a lot of connections out there, and they are here to help that and to prevent any harm. Because if you think about the universe, there are other planets that are inhabited. They may not be anywhere near us. But it's no different than whenever you think about our planet and has different countries scattered everywhere. Sometimes somebody's kind of got to be the policeman and make sure that everybody's good and they're not crossing over into somebody else's area. That's kind of what the thrones are doing, but they're doing it on a planetary level. Then we have the dominions. These are the celestial or the galactic angels. They're like channels of mercy, and they help smooth the passage between the spiritual and the material world. Now, when you start talking about, the galactic Angels, Galactic Federation. Actually, Galactic Angels was a phrase that was given to me about some very specific angels to work with. And basically, they are the dominions. And they're going to help us move to a higher vibrational frequency. That's part of their job. So as they're helping us with that passage between spiritual and material, they're helping us get out of the third dimension and move up to higher dimensions. Now we have the virtues. They are the angels that send out fast beams of light so that they can be more accessible to human beings. And they're the ones that we connect to when groups tap into angelic energy. And they help us to raise consciousness. This is kind of like the group that I'm forming of light angels. When we all work together to tap in and connect with our angels, that's the group that we're working with, or the virtues. Now we have the powers. These are the angels of birth and death. They're the ones that really help us so that we can transition from human to our light body and then going back again. They also help us because they are the ones that are really kind of in charge of the karmic records. So whenever you're doing things, like if you're working with the Akashic records and things like that, you can connect with some of the powers to be able to do this work. Now we have the principalities. Their job is to look after and protect cities, nations, and large configurations of people. Now, principalities don't just work here on Earth. They work throughout the universe. And yes, they're very busy right now. But that's okay, because they can handle it, and they will. Certain things have to happen so that the Earth and the planet can kind of slough off what is no longer needed so that she can expand. Now, below the principalities are the archangels. These are the guys that we're mostly familiar with. Now, they are primarily in charge of really big projects for humanity. And their other job is that they supervise the regular angels. Okay? Now, the archangels all have their areas of expertise, just like humans do. We all have different jobs, so do the archangels. And then at the bottom, which does not make them any less, it just changes their frequency level so that they can connect with us more clearly, and that's the angels. These are the guardian angels that are here with us from before we are born. They're here with us throughout our lives, and they help us so that we can live in peace whenever we listen to them. That's always the catch. We got to listen to these guys and, take their advice. Heaven forbid, that's what we need to do. Now, I have a lot of questions when it comes to angels, because we do have names of several archangels that different people have channeled over the years. Actually, angels don't really recognize names. They recognize energy and thought patterns. Because remember, they are beings of light. Beings of light do not have a mouth or ears or anything like that. Okay? We like to turn everything into a person and give it a name and consider it being, a complete person. Angels aren't like that. They do everything telepathically. They recognize each other through energy. So don't worry about the name. Don't get hung up on that. Focus more on the message that you get rather than racking your brain trying to figure out the name of whoever it is that you're talking to. Because that's really the biggest difference. You don't need to worry about the name nearly as much as you do the message. Now, another great way to do this, if you're concerned about, some people get very concerned about having evil or darkness coming in. I don't really acknowledge that as a possibility in my world. So I don't give it an opening to come in. But I was told one time, actually Doreen told me, she said, use Michael as your gatekeeper. Use him as the bouncer. Everybody, restaurants, clubs, places have bouncers to keep the riffraff out. Use Michael as your bouncer. Nothing's going to get past him. And it won't. So that way, I never even worry about who I'm talking to. I honestly don't even worry about the names anymore. And if you ask me who is telling me and giving me this information, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to tell you Gabriel, because he does give me a tremendous amount of information. And he's also one of the angels who is all about communication. So, that's usually Gabriel or Uriel are there giving me the info. But now that you know a lot about the angels, how do you connect with them? How are you talking to them? Raise your vibrations. You can do this through music. You can do this through prayer. You can do it by being out in nature. God, that raises our vibrational frequency so high. With yoga, with crystals, candles, obviously prayer, meditation. You don't have to have a formal prayer to call your angels in. Okay? If you need something, just ask them. Angels, I need you. Or if you need to have them surround you because you're afraid or you're worried about something, just say, angels, surround me. Or in my case, I usually say, hey, guys, I need help now. Fix it. And they're there. When we get back, we're going to talk about more ways to connect with your angels. We'll be back.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hello! Join us, Lisa Berry and Michelle Carter, every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for the Mindset Makeover, What's Possible. Get ready to become present, clear, and unstuck, and start living fully, led by your heart. While you listen and feel this transformation through vibration of word, sound, and song, you'll open up to what's possible and experience your shift.
The name is Bond. James Bond.
No, the name is Joe. The Joe Show. And we are returning back for our 9th season here on OMTimes Radio. So tune in every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, on OMTimes.com/mobile. You can take us wherever you go. Yeah!
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
About them, who they are, what they do. We know a little bit about connecting with them, but how do we know that they're here? How do we know that they're around when they're wanting to talk to us? Well, one traditional way has been if you find a coin. a penny or a dime or something like that. That's one way that they do it. And of course, feathers. I've had feathers appear like all over the place, sometimes all over my house. Butterflies are another great way of seeing them. We can see them as images in the sky. We can see them. There are two different birds that I'm aware of that let us know that angels are around. One are bluebirds and the other are cardinals. And whenever they appear, that usually means that their angels are close by. Now also, I get it through other animals. I get it through hawks a lot. That's a big one for me. But, there are a lot of, spirit animals that will just start appearing whenever you have angels coming in just to kind of like pop in and say, hi, we're here, we're taking care of you. Now, music. Do you hear music? And, sometimes you do. And you're really not crazy, but it's like you hear music in your head. Sometimes you can be walking around and a song pops into your head. I've had that happen today. One song that kept popping into my head. It's a song that is not necessarily one of my favorites. It's not a song that I have heard in the last 20 years, but it is a song that has been relevant all of a sudden. And that is Material World. I think Madonna did it. And the phrase that I keep hearing over and over again is, we're living in a material world. Well, no kidding. And this material world has been bottoming out lately. And so I'm going to do a class on living in a material world. How to stay spiritual when you do that. So that's another way, because they give you stuff and sometimes you just have to like say it or write it down or something, and then they'll back off and leave you alone a little bit. But when it gets down to connecting with your angels and everything, what are the most important things you need to know when you're working with them? And I have a list of what I think is the most important things that we need to know about our angels. Number one is that they love you more than you will ever know. I mean, this is better than your dog. This is better than, a parent. This is unbelievable, total, unconditional love no matter what. They are always with you, just waiting for you to ask for help. Okay? You have to do that. They can't really jump in. They can every once in a while, just in major emergencies, but other than that, they have to respect your free will. So ask for help. Next one is, they have been with you since the beginning of time, and they have guided you through each one of your lifetimes, helping you to achieve your goals. They're here. They know the whole story. They know a whole lot more than what we do. So connect with them so that they can help you as you get through this part and learn those lessons and move forward. Now, this is an important one that you need to know about your angels. You are their job. Okay? If you don't work with them and do stuff with them, they don't have anything to do. The last thing we need are a bunch of angels that are bored and getting into trouble, okay? If that happens, it's your fault because you didn't ask them for help. Okay? They're here to help you. That is what they're supposed to do. That is their job. So let's help them. When you work with them, you really can and will reach spiritual heights that you've never imagined. They can, they do, and they will help you with the ascension process. And they do. And they'll give it to you a little bit at a time. Now, we generally have 2 to 3 angels with us throughout our life. But depending on what's going on in our world, we may have more. We could have thousands, okay? They'll come in and just pop in and out as specialists, but we will have those primary 2 to 3 with us at all times. When you hear a little voice inside your head telling you to do something, or, like I kept getting that phrase, we're living in a material world, that's your angels, okay? No, thank God I do not have an angel named Madonna, but that was my angels giving me a message that I personally needed, as well as one that I'm going to share with others. Because as I go through and work this out, I'm going to share it with other people to help them work it out. Because I know I'm not the only person going through this. Same thing with those funny feelings in your stomach. That's your angels telling you something. So just listen. Work with them. That's what they're here for. They're going to talk to you in a lot of different ways and communicate with you in many different ways. So be open to it. It's not always about the spoken word. You can pick up a book and it will have the exact quote or the phrase that you needed to trigger something to solve your problem. It can be anything. So be open to it. Now, the more you ask for help from your angels does not mean that you are whiny and dependent. Okay? But the more that you ask for help and the more that you pay attention and listen to their messages, then the more messages you're going to receive. It's like, okay, she's finally talking to me. Now we can finally get through to her and give her all that information she's needed to know. So talk to them, listen, and act on what they're telling you. And trust your instincts because, it is your angels talking to you. If that message is based on unconditional love, it's your angels. If it's anger or fear or doubt, that's your ego. And that's the biggest difference between the two. So, what do? What's the next step? Keep practicing, working to connect with them. Keep trusting and follow their guidance. And treat them as an honored and respected friend. They are your friend. They are here for you. They are your go-to person. And you need to go to them. And you need to work with them. Now, for the entire month of July, this is what we're going to be talking about, is our angels. Now, next week, we're going to talk about Archangels Ariel, Azrael, Cassiel, Shamuel, Gabriel, and Haniel. It's a lot of angels. But we're going to talk about that group and some of the wonderful things and blessings that they bring to us, some of their specialties, and how to work with them. So every week, as we go through this month, we're going to talk about and add new angels to our list. Because you can't have too many angels in your life. You just can't. So we're going to go through and we're going to touch on each one and, get to know them and help you to get to know them as well. Now, I'll let you know that OMTimes Radio and Magazine is actually even creating a list of courses now. And this is going to be fun. You're going to be able to take live courses with us online. That means that you get to interact. We get to talk to each other. They're going to be video, which means I'm going to have to wear makeup, but it's going to be okay. My first course is going to start in August, and guess what the title is? Living in a Material World. Yeah, no surprise there. So we're going to talk about how to live in the material world and still be spiritual. You can do it, It's not that easy sometimes, but it can be done. We have to have a balance. So that's what we're going to talk about. In September, I'm going to have a class about working with the angels. It's going to be way more in depth, and you're going to have homework. But it'll be really helping you connect in a much better way. In October, we're going to get to know the Ascended Masters. Oh, huge list of those guys, but we'll work on them. November, the power of prayer and gratitude. And then December, we're going to talk about manifesting for the new year. Because we want to manifest one outstanding, spectacular year. Because after the way this year's already going, we deserve it. So those are the class topics that I am going to teach. And we're going to have all of the experts on OMTimes teaching courses through that venue. And we're also going to be doing it for really reasonable prices. So, it'll cover our time, our expense, the, platform for us to be able to do it. But it's still going to be a great and wonderful way for us to connect with you and to learn. And I heard a rumor just recently that we're going to start changing some of our radio formats. We'll be able to start taking live callers, and I'm really excited about that because I love being able to interact with everyone and to talk. So, that is a wonderful, wonderful blessing. So I am getting very close to completing my book about angels and how they have helped me transform my life. So that will be out before the end of the year. But I already have several of them that you can find. You can find them on Amazon. The easiest way is just to go to Amazon and then just type in a search for my name, and then you can get the whole list of them.